The lights of the town went out with the sound of dying electricity, a blackout caused by excessive snowfall. In a small two-bedroom house near the station, the quiet scratching of pencil on paper stopped. The shadow figure responsible for the noise sighs, places the pencil on the paper, and then stands up. Carefully feeling away around the house, she retrieves the items that she is looking for, and breathes a sigh of relief. The tiny sparks from the lighter light up the tiny kitchen like a strobe. Finally, the lighter manages to take hold, and a meager flame flickers at its mouth. The shadowed figure carefully lights 2 candles, then extinguishes the lighter's flame. In the weak yellow light of the candles, the figure resolves into a young woman in casual clothes. Walking carefully, as to not spill too much wax, she returns to her study. The plans spread out on the table in the center of the room once again are visible, nothing more than a collection of lines on an otherwise blank sheet. The walls of the study are decorated with hand-rendered drawings of various buildings, each accompanied by a photo. Against the far wall stand 2 deep chests, full of hand-drawn plans. The woman carefully places the candles on either side of the desk and picks up her pencil once more. In a short time, she is once again working at full pace, the scratching of the pencil nearly matching the flickering light of the candles. And so the woman continues, drawing away into the night. Before long, the lines on the paper are connecting, forming the outline of a house, a new house. She buries her head deeper into the plants, making the most of the weak candlelight. She is so engrossed in her work that she doesn't hear the soft sobbing and patting of feet until their owner wraps his arms around her legs. "Mommy." The woman looks down, startled. Her daughter, in her flannel pajamas and carrying her favorite plush rabbit, is firmly wrapped around her leg, crying. "It's all dark, Mommy." The woman puts down her pencil and picks up her daughter, placing her on her lap. "Shh, now, Hana. What's the matter?" "It's dark and I can't sleep. Where are the lights, Mommy?" The woman gently strokes her daughter's hair before gently kissing the top of her head. "Come on now, I'll fix that for you." The woman picks up one of the candles, now covered in hardened rivulets of wax, and helps her daughter up. The daughter stumbles slightly and bumps the desk, but neither of them notice beyond that. Hand in hand, they walk into the next room, where a man lays sleeping on the edge of a double futon. Next to him lay another 2 pillows. The small family always sleeps together. The woman guides her daughter into the futon next to the sleeping man, and places the candle at the head of the futon. "There you are, see? Now there's light here." The man stirs into consciousness. "Eh? What's going on?" "There was just a little blackout, and the night light went out. I brought a candle for Hana to get sleep by." The man smiles slightly, and wraps an arm around his daughter. "Don't you have a great mother, Hanako? Say thank you." "Thank you, Mommy." The daughter hugs her plush rabbit tightly as her mother smiles and leaves the bedroom. As she slides the door to the bedroom close, she hears a strange sound, smells a strange smell, and realizes that the corridor is much brighter than it ought to be. She gasps and rushes to the next room. She tries to enter the blazing room, but the intense heat drives her back. Her desk is collapsed into a pile of burning firewood, and the floor around it blackened by the smoke. The drawings on the wall curl away and disintegrate as they burn. Smoke billows from the cracks in the drawing chests in puffs as the smoldering fire inside them draws air through the same cracks to survive. Flames leap across the ceiling in mesmerizing patterns. The woman, too shocked to scream, falls over backward and can do nothing but sit and stare as her livelihood is consumed by the flames. A picture frame, ablaze and losing its integrity, smashes to the floor. The noise rouses the sleeping man, who enters the corridor. "What's going on? Oh my God!" As the pair stare into the inferno, the wall separating the study and the bedroom boggles and falls. "Hanako!" The woman tries to get to her feet, but slips. The man, already standing, makes for the bedroom. He opens the door, providing a second supply of air to the flames. In an instant, they increase their brightness and intensity, and shimmering waves of heat separate the man and his daughter. Their eyes meet, and the man knows what he must do. Using his arms as a shield from the flames, he charges toward his daughter, scooping her up into his chest. She screams an airless scream, but it is lost to the ever-increasing roar of the fire. Even as he barrels through the short hallway to the house's front door, he feels the flames lick against his body, instantly blistering skin and vaporizing hair. As he fumbles with the lock, he feels the heat of the fire upon his back, and hears the structure of the house slowly starting to crumble. Opening the door seems to take an eternity, and as soon as he has it open a fraction, the backdraft of air slams the slab of wood into him and his daughter, sending them flying. Enraged by the fresh air outside, the fire screams and reaches out toward its flesh-based enemy. Clawing his protesting body along the floor, breathing in lungfuls of smoke, the man makes his way toward his daughter. She's curled tightly around her plush rabbit, her flannel pajamas blackened and covered in glowing trails of smoldering fire. Her skin is lost among the ashes of her clothes. as charred as the walls around her. The man summons the last of his strength and shoves the small girl out through the door and onto the pristine white snow outside. He hears the hiss of the melting snow turning into steam at the door, but he can see that his daughter is now safe from the flames. She stirs and turns toward him, her tiny hand pushing through the snow toward him. He smiles as the walls finally buckle, sending the roof crashing down around him. Hey guys, Reckoning here, and allow me to welcome you to the bonus episode of the Hanako arc. My hope for this video is to give my thoughts on the arc without using the internet for filler. I'll probably use a little bit for reference, but for the most part, this is my thoughts. If you guys remember what I said in the update in which you decided the epilogue, I mentioned that Option 2 might have been done in honor of the Beta Hanako arc, but I never explained that. The Beta Hanako arc had 4 endings, 3 of which were bad, and the 4th of which was hidden. And the Beta bad endings? They're bad. If you think the regular bad ending was bad, the Beta ones are worse. If you want, I can tell you, but be warned, death is involved. Yeah, I'm not making that up. Now, should you want to get the good ending for Hanako, you have to travel down Lily's arc, then jump onto Hanako's arc. Who would have guessed that? The Beta seems a lot sadder ending-wise than the full version. In fact, Shizune's arc changed quite a lot between then and now. In the Beta Shizune arc, Misha, well, something bad happens to Misha. I can't say what. Now, if you guys want me to show the Beta Shizune arc as a bonus feature, I'm fine with that, but after Act 2, there's no visuals, and after Act 3, it crashes, so I'd have to read the script. But for you guys, I'll do that. But anyway, we're here to talk about Hanako, not Shizune. So let us talk about Hanako. At the moment, I'm not 100% sure who's my favorite of the girls. It's between Shizune, Hanako, and Ren. Ren because she's so off the wall she's funny, but you guys don't know that yet. Shizune because I really like her personality, and Hanako because she's just so damn cute. What, don't you think so? One main point of Hanako's story is that you're not creating something new, but bringing out her own features from underneath a hardened crust. When the world rejected her, she decided to reject the world right back, and now she's the woman with 7 locks on her heart, bursting one by one. Her rebirth is a difficult one, and sex is one huge step in her awakening, a literal cry for life. When you try to find the character that suits her true nature best, what comes closest of all is the servant from the Frog Prince, Iron Heinrich, or Faithful Heinrich/Henry. He was so upset with his master's misfortune that he reinforced his heart with 3 iron circlets, lest his heart burst from grief. When the curse was lifted, his 3 iron seals burst, one by one, allowing his heart to adapt. Well, that's our Hanako. She lived with survivor's guilt for many years now. The unburned part of her skin, the side her mother protected from the fire with her own body, is a living testament that someone loved her and wanted her to live. So she lived on, but at the cost of having these iron seals in her heart. The original seals were there to keep Heinrich's heart from bursting with joy, too. Hanako's seals play the same role. She chose to live, but she's not expecting any happiness in her life. It would seem indecent toward her dead parents to just seek out love and happiness. That's why she has a breakdown every year on her birthday. What sense does it make to celebrate your life, when the ones who gave you life and protected you are dead? However, Hanako's like a green shoot. Green things tend to grow toward the light. Hanako cannot postpone her life indefinitely. She did it during middle school and at the orphanage, but the souring call of living with her peers is growing stronger. She tried to learn about life as an abstraction, but removing interaction with people from books, thus, like any teenager, she knows... I think I stated that wrong. Thus, like any teenager, she knows a number of things she has no experience with, like romance, love, and perhaps even sex. Which brings us to another interesting speculation about the protagonist of this game, Hisao. How experienced is he really? Just like Hanako, he seems to know things he never actually tried, but his real experience is limited to meeting Iwanako after receiving her love letter, and that's it. For Hisao, the Iwanako point is where factual knowledge about girls' love, sex stops, and the theoretical knowledge without experimental knowledge starts. From his performance with the other girls, he's aware of what he's supposed to do, but there's not much to substantiate that he did such things before. That sounds more like theoretical knowledge, not experience. So he and Hanako are quite evenly matched on that front. Okay, that ends the internet filler. Now it's my turn. Let's start from the first day. Hisao arrives at his homeroom, and in the back of the room he spots Hanako. That's a sign to begin with. Not everybody even notices she's there. Hisao does. Okay, maybe it's not a sign in just the fact that Hisao was taking in his new environment. Besides that, Hisao has his first actual run-in with Hanako in the library, which we all know of. At first, she's wary of him. We know damn well why. It has to do with her past. Her painful history, if I may. Hanako runs off, but Hisao is curious about her. So begins his adventure to learn more about her. Now, we're all aware that Hanako's only real friend at this point is Lily, but even Lily doesn't know exactly why Hanako acts the way she does. She knows that it has to do with her scarring, but Lily doesn't know the details. It does take a while, but eventually Hisao does find out the details behind her scarring and why she acts how she does. For those that want the full story, here it is. This is as in-depth as I can go with my current knowledge. Here we go. Ms. Hanako Ikuzawa was born on July 10th, 23 years ago, which is according to the year when Four Leaf came together to create this work of art, 2007. For the first 8 years of her life, there were no problems. Until the fire happened. Now, the novel itself doesn't state how the fire started, but one of the creators, Corporal Crud, wrote that introduction I read to you. And just so you know, that was part of Hanako's beta arc. And you can see where it goes from there. House fire, Hanako's mother protects her, and Hanako survives the fire. Her parents, unfortunately, do not. So she goes to the orphanage, and she gets made fun of. From this point until Hanako meets Hisao, her life is effectively on hold. Yeah, Hanako's life has been on hold for 10 years. Or so. When Hanako reveals all this, you have to stand back and just look at everything that has happened to her. She gets made fun of from elementary to pretty much high school. Because of her schoolmates, Hanako dislikes people. She doesn't like crowds, and she's fine with not having many friends. Hanako, or more so Hisao I suppose, shows you that no matter what happens to you, as long as you have your friends, you can make it. Hanako lost her family, lost her confidence, can't trust anybody. She becomes romantically involved with Hisao, but she still doesn't trust him. She had the mindset that Lily and Hisao only saw her as somebody to protect and nothing more. Hanako never wanted somebody to protect her, she wanted somebody to accept her, which explains the bad ending. Hanako has sex with Hisao so he won't see her as someone who has to be protected. She saw herself as useless, someone like a child. When Hanako comes out of her room after her birthday, she notices Hisao has started to drift away. She felt that she was going to lose him because he wanted somebody who he could have that kind of relationship with. So she thought he was bored of her because he wanted romance. Hisao says that they're still friends, but he wouldn't just abandon her like that, regardless if it was true or not. Hanako had given up on friendship. She stopped believing in others after the accident. Until the accident, she got along well with the other children. After the accident, she was teased. Such is the way that children act. What made it worse was the fact that the people she thought were her closest friends were making fun of her. From this point onward, she believes that it doesn't matter if anyone acknowledges her, all her existence did was trouble people. She thought it would be easier if the fire killed her as well. Yeah, it's dark, but this is what she thought. Until she met Hisao and Lily, and maybe after she met them. She tried, but she couldn't make herself think that way again. Hanako thought that when Hisao got bored of her, that he would just throw her away. In a way, Hanako was right. Hisao and Lily did see her as somebody to protect, but they also saw a person. They didn't think she was worthless. She'd become to Hisao what he had become to his old friends, broken. Hanako was never broken. Hisao liked her, possibly even loved her, but he never acted on it because he thought she was so fragile. Hanako locking herself in her room made Hisao think that she was rejecting him, which she would never do. In addition, even though she tried to push him away, he still tried to get closer to her. She locked herself away because she thought she was a burden to everyone. Every birthday was the same, everybody doing their best to pretend that she mattered, if only for a day. Even after meeting Lily, she was useless as she had always been, unable to do anything for her. She didn't want to be the same toward Hisao. As it turns out, Lily and Hisao were completely wrong. Everything they did for her would have only made her feel worse. Even the small amount Hisao thought he knew was a complete misjudgment. It is at this point that Hanako breaks down and begins to cry, and Hisao rushes to embrace her. He doesn't care how he looks now. He only wants to be close to her. For the first time since his heart attack, Hisao was scared. He lost a lot when he came to Yamaku. He was depending on Hanako more than he ever thought he did. After losing his entire life, the thought of losing Hanako is unbearable. Hanako insists that she's worthless, but Hisao cuts her off by telling her she's his friend, and that the thought of losing her frightened him. This is what she's wanted to hear for so long, and the floodgates break. Hisao is unsure of how things will be after this, but he doesn't care. There is no other person in the world that either of them could possibly share these memories and emotions with. Nobody. Alrighty then, now with that feel fast out of the way, let's look at a few more aspects of this arc. Now, every arc has an ideal within it. If I were to guess what Hanako's is, it would be that beauty is more than skin deep. Just because half of Hanako's body is scarred, that does not make her any less beautiful. Hisao and Lily know this. Think about it. Lily finds Hanako beautiful, and Lily can't even see her. And no, Lily's not just trying to be nice. There's a such thing as inner beauty and outer beauty. From Hanako's personality, Lily can tell that Hanako at least has inner beauty, and even if she were to look repulsive, which she doesn't, Lily would still find her beautiful. That being said, Lily and Hisao do not think any less of Hanako because she is scarred. As for everybody that interacted with Hanako before high school, that's a different story. Hanako's arc is a sad story, but it can have quite a happy ending should you not fuck up your relationship with her. Of course, there actually is a perk from seeing the bad ending, but only if you see all the endings in the novel. I intend to show that at the end of the project. That's also why I've been showing all the endings. If I wasn't going for that, I'd probably just go for the good ones. And then if you want to see the other ones, then I would show those. I'm working for something. But anyway, before I get distracted once again, let's discuss the arc in full. And Hanako's character in general. Hanako's a nerd, believe it or not. But she's one of the rare nerds you hear about that is actually really attractive. And now I've made myself sound like a dick. Fantastic. Besides that, think about it. She reads, she plays chess. Okay, maybe she doesn't seem like much of a nerd, but she is one. It shows more in fanfiction, so you'll have to take my word for it. This kind of shows more in the epilogue that I have to get around to editing. I still haven't finished doing that, because it's 2.5 hours long. I'm working on it. Her being this way is due to the people of the orphanage. She would go to the library and read, and she would play chess with people who worked there. But as the years went on, the others were adopted, while she stayed there. With Hanako, you can kind of understand why she felt the way she did. Until high school, people made fun of her and made her feel like she was worthless. Of course, we all know that she is not worthless. She's one of the most popular characters in the novel, and her story doesn't involve lemons. You'll get the joke eventually. Throughout the story, Hisao is trying his hardest to understand Hanako, to get her to open up to him, and maybe help her be less shy. It takes a while to do this because he has to do it just right. Hanako doesn't want to be treated like she's somebody who needs protecting. She wants somebody to understand her. Lily mentioned something that should be noted. Hanako assumed that Hisao would ask about her scars, and when he didn't, she knew something was different. She didn't trust him, but she knew he was different. Over time, she was glad to have him around, and when Hanako discovers that Hisao has a heart condition, she feels she has to tell Hisao about her past, if only basic details. It's a start, and they'll build on it as they become closer, as you already know, of course. What do I see Hisao as to Hanako? In my personal opinion, Hisao is her doorway to development. Because of Hisao, Hanako is able to believe in friendship and learns to trust people once again. She may not trust many people, and she may not have that many friends, but she's on the road to recovery. As she said, after the fire, her life was on hold. Hisao took her life off of hold. Because of this, you can argue that Hisao may be more important to Hanako than Lily is. But you could also argue that without Lily, Hanako probably wouldn't talk to Hisao in the first place. Honestly, now, I can't think of anything else to say. I think I've said everything that has to be said. But before we get to the next section, I'd like to mention something. Hanako's traits seem to have rubbed off on me. For some reason, pretty much every day at school at some point, well, a few weeks ago anyway, I would have a mini panic attack. Or at least that's how it seemed. I'd like to know what that was from, but I haven't the slightest idea. Just thought I should mention that. But now, without further stalling, let me stall even more with a couple of real-life stories from 4chan. I'm not sure if one is in response to Hanako's arc, but one states that it is, and both have to do with feels. Figured it'd fit in this bonus episode, but maybe it doesn't. You guys can tell me what you think. Do we have the music ready? Yep, sounds like it. Alright, here we go. Here's the first one. It was posted back in January, in case you want an idea of when this occurred. I just finished this game a few hours ago. I did Hanako's route, and it stirred memories I thought I'd left behind. I remember this girl from high school. She had scarring along her left face and her right side of her ribs from a construction accident a few years ago. Nobody talked to her. Everyone made fun of her. She never talked to anyone. One day I just sat down and talked to her to see what she was really like. She was shy at first, but after a while we started talking more. She was a beautiful person despite her physical scars. I remember when she had a nervous breakdown after a construction accident from our renovations. I comforted her and she told me she loved me, that she wanted to be with me forever. I honestly felt the same. We lost our virginity together that night, something I never wanted to lose until I found the one. I was so happy. We were planning to go to the same university and everything. I had found my soulmate. Then, her father found work in America. She had to move away. I was heartbroken. I kept in contact with her for over a year after high school, even visiting her occasionally. The communication petered out. I figured she'd moved on. I couldn't blame her, but I didn't know the truth. I called her a couple months later for her birthday. parents told me she was raped at her new school and was driven to suicide from depression. I had no idea what to think. For weeks I couldn't even eat or sleep. I couldn't believe she was gone. After so long, I thought I'd moved on. Then I played Hanuko's route, and all the emotions, all the memories, it all came rushing back to me. This is everything we could have had. If only she didn't move away, we could have had a happily ever after ending like this. Thinking about her is destroying me all over. Thinking about visiting her grave now. Damn. Just damn. You guys ready for the second one? Well, ready or not, here it comes. Haha! Time for feels. That's really how it starts. How we met. Alright, so first year of uni. Between my classes I would hang out in this study lounge thing. There was this girl there who usually sat across from me on this recliner thing. She was quite frankly just inhumanely pretty. Way the hell out of my league. I didn't bother talking to her for a while because I have no self-esteem. Until one day, this faggot shows up with an acoustic guitar and decides that the perfect soundtrack to our studying would be a bunch of horribly performed Coldplay songs. So me and this girl keep throwing each other glances, kind of a, is this guy fucking serious look. I see this as an opportunity to be alpha as fuck for once in my life since I play guitar. So I get up and go to the guy. I pull the whole, hey man, nice axe, mind if I give it a shot? He gives me the guitar, and I play this acoustic version of Vamos alla Flamenco that I came up with back when I was in middle school. I played it well enough to get an applause from the other people in the room. And so I give the guy back the guitar with a big shit-eating grin on my face. He stopped playing, and it was time for me to leave for my next class. So I left. As I was leaving the room, I get a little tap on my shoulder. Holy shit, it was the girl I was talking about. She asked if that was Vamos alla Flamenco, and my jaw nearly hits the fucking floor. Turns out, she was really into video, and played piano. We hit it off, and started talking to each other in the lounge between classes. Well, as we got to know each other, it was like one of those cliché storybook things. We got along ridiculously well, but we were like polar opposites. She was on top of everything, and competitive, and I was very laid-back and amiable. She learned piano the right way, through lessons and whatnot, and I learned by listening to street bands in New Orleans. You know, the stereotypical opposites attract type relationship. Well, one day in her dorm, we were playing Super Smash Brothers, and we both were on our last lives. Out of nowhere, she leans over and kisses me, and knocks me off the stage while I'm sitting there in shock. Here's the conversation. Oh, come on, that's totally not fair. All's fair in love and war, my little hobbit. It was a pet name. I kinda look like Elijah Wood. Well, I wouldn't call it war. Guess there's only one thing it could be then, I know that sounds made up, but there you go. And so we kissed again, which led to clothes being thrown off, which led to our bed, which led to both of us losing our virginity. We spent the rest of the night in our dorm, just cuddling and shit. Still don't know how we got away with it, but hey, we did. So over the course of the next few months, I was happy I was in love with all that entails, but something always nagged at the back of my mind, which just attributed to my slow self-esteem. I always thought she was too good for me, that she deserved better. I shouldn't be with this beautiful, amazing, classy girl. I'm a skinny nerd whose only worthwhile talent is that he plays guitar. Well, days turned to weeks turned to months when we were together. Time just kind of seemed unimportant. All I cared about was that I was with her, and vice versa. Well, she was Italian, and spoke Italian a lot. So I started learning Italian in the secret so I could surprise her with it. I thought it was a sweet thing to do, you know? Well, it would turn around to bite me in the ass later. So, toward the end of the semester, her uncle in Italy died, and no one was available to watch her sick grandparents who were also living in Italy, with the uncle. Her dad was one of those overprotective people and wouldn't let her stay in America by herself. He kind of dismissed us as one of those teenage affairs or whatever. So we made the most of the weeks we had left. We practically spent every waking second together, studying, playing music, etc., etc. Well, my last day of finals was coincidentally the day she was leaving. I basically had 3 tests back-to-back, so I was testing all day. I told her I would come see her afterward. She already left. All she left was a note that basically said she was sorry she never got to say goodbye, but she should be back next semester if she can convince her dad otherwise. This was back in December of this year. Well, I called her every fucking day since she left. No one picked up. I figured that it was fucked up because of the national borders thing, but I kept trying. Just kinda out of habit than anything else. Today, someone finally picked up. Not her. Some guy. I asked who it was, and he turned to her and said, "Remember how I said I learned Italian? It's some guy speaking English. Is that loser from America? Didn't you tell him you weren't coming back?" And they both laughed. They both just fucking laughed. So, in Italian, I told the guy to give her the phone. I asked her to explain, and she did. She told me how she got over it a few weeks later and moved on, and apparently I'm immature for not moving on. So I told her to go fuck herself, and I hung up. So yeah, that's my story, fresh off the oven. You know the worst part? I was seriously like fucking Hanako levels of beta as hell before I met her. Shy as fuck, insecure, couldn't talk to anyone because I didn't think I'd ever amount to anything. She made me feel like I was worth something, and then just fucking blew that straight to hell. I feel like I'm blogging now, so I'll stop, but it hurts, man. It hurts. All I had to deal with the pain until now was my music. But now I can't even play because it reminds me too much of her. Sophia, I know you fucking browse /v/ I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. And if you're reading this, then fuck you. Throughout my life, I've loved only two things. You, or so I thought, and music. And in one deft, evil fucking move, you took them both away. Holy shit. The feels I'm incapable of having. Bro, I don't know that pain, but that has to royally suck. I side with you. You seem like the kind of guy who deserves a nice girl, but just can't find one. Or you think you found the one, and she turns out to be a bitch. I hope you find the girl who you want to spend the rest of your life with, because everybody should be able to find their significant other. But alas, some of us may never find them. And I believe that's it for this bonus feature. You guys are probably just overwhelmed with feels right now. And I gotta admit, I kind of started feeling them too, which is saying something. So, with all that being said, I guess that's it for now. Next time... fuck. What's gonna be next? Well, hopefully I'll have the epilogue finished soon. Very soon. And maybe this will be up before the next arc starts? Maybe? I don't know. But until next time, I'm reckoning you are the viewer. Give me a like or favorite if you like this video. Give me a comment telling me whatever you want to tell me. You know, I'm open to what you guys want to say. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day.